the Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 metal. This is the spec version. Let's check it out. When the Smith & Wesson Model 59 entered the market, it was a big game changer for Smith & Wesson. They were really known for their revolvers. Had made some semi-automatics in the past, but this was really their first major accomplishment. Of course, it went from the Gen 1 series up to the Gen 3 series, and these were aluminum frames. They even went to steel frames. But when Smith & Wesson entered their M&P 2.0, it was a polymer frame striker fire pistol. This became extremely popular. Now they've gone back to the metal frames with their M&P 2.0 metal series. They have a number of configurations. This is the spec model. There are a lot of upgrades with this pistol over the basic M&P 2.0. So let's take a good look at the spec model, see what it's all about. It's funny how we started out with all steel frames, went to aluminum frames, went to polymer frames, and now we're back to the metal frame. So we want to thank Smith & Wesson for sending the M&P 2.0 metal spec model. I mean, that's a long name, but there's a lot of cool features. And while Smith & Wesson did send this for me to keep, they also said to tell us your honest opinion, which I always do. Smith & Wesson M&P 9 2.0 Metal Spec Series Performance Center. That's a long name, but there are a lot of things about this handgun that just give it some advantages. Now, it looks really tactical, and to be honest, it can be used for tactical purposes. But of course, the base for this handgun was the original M&P 2.0, and this is a polymer frame striker fire pistol. Black armonite finish, which their black nitride finishes are honestly very excellent. It's over a stainless steel slide, stainless steel barrel. Great gun, and it's the base for the Spec Series. Now this is a metal frame, which is aluminum alloy, and so it's very durable. It has less flex. I love the way aluminum feels. And then you have these polymer inserts where you can still have your grip changes. You can have different sizes, and it allows you to do that, and it's a little bit of a palm swell. And then here at the front, we have that same texturing, and it's really aggressive, but yet it fits really well in your hand. It almost feels like sandpaper when you just rub your hand across here. But when you hold it in your hand, it gives you a good, solid, firm grip on the handgun. Now let's go ahead and we're going to drop our 17-round magazine, and then we're going to check the chamber, make sure it's unloaded. One of the things about this particular pistol is it comes not only with a 17-rounder and a second 17-rounder, but it comes with two additional 23-round magazines with the extended base pad. So you have a lot of capacity. All this is included with the handgun. And Smith & Wesson makes really great mags, and it has that nitride finish on that as well. So it starts out with just being a really excellent gun just in itself. But there are some big things about this handgun that differentiate. And one thing is the front cocking serrations are all the way up the slide. On the original, it just has kind of an abbreviated front cocking serrations. You can see them right there. They're very small. They're doable and they work. But this just gives you a little bit more to grip hold of. And then, of course, here at the back, same thing. And so it allows you to grip it. And while it doesn't have a protrusion here at the back, because these serrations are cut so deep into the slide, it gives you a little extra anchor point to be able to bring that slide back. And one thing about the original is that it has those kind of fish scale serrations. So these are different. They grip very well. In fact, I like the way they grip. They do still have a little bit right here at the back, but not as much as the new serration system. Now it does have the core system mounting plates, and it has a polymer top here. Of course, this is just a cover, take that off. It has a number of additional plates where you can put about any optic you want to. Traditionally, I don't put my optic on here while I'm doing reviews because I just want to shoot it as is. Sometimes I will. But this one is an excellent candidate, especially since it has the compensator on the end. And this is a Faxon compensator. It has a top large slot and then 2 side slots, which actually make this kind of angle with the recoil. And it makes it a very flat shooting experience when you're shooting this gun. The gases are pushed down and it just makes it quick to get on those second and third follow-up shots. That's one of the big reasons why a comp gives you advantages when shooting. And it just lessens the recoil. This comp is on a 1/2x28 threads pitch, so you can take this off and mount a suppressor. It does have suppressor height sights, and they're 3-dot, but they are night sights. And so I really like this configuration because they're white, and you don't see that as much. Usually they'll have some color inserts. This gives you that 3-dot option that's white like we traditionally see, and yet it has that tritium capability. Really low bore axis, I like that. And one of the things also about suppressor height sights is if you put an optic on here, it'll co-witness with the sights. You'll also notice that the beaver tail area is polymer. That's going to make it very comfortable. It's not cold like the metal, especially if you're shooting this in cold weather. And the barrel's 4.8 inches in length, and that includes the extended thread portion that's at the end. And it does come with a thread protector if you want to remove the comp, but also if you're using a suppressor and you want to change it in and out and you just want to slip on the thread protector, it's just going to help protect your threads. That metal frame, guys, you know, when you shoot this gun, I mean, it just has a strength to it. I've really gotten back to a lot of the aluminum alloy frame or even steel frame handguns. Something about the way they feel in your hand, while they are a little heavier than polymer, they're not that much heavier. And really on traditional metal frames, you have grip panels that go down the side. With this, it's almost the best of both worlds because you do have these inserts where you can change these out, and yet you have that rigidity of the metal. Now it comes with a medium backstrap installed. This is the small, they are marked. And then we have 2 large. One large has thinner palm swells on the side, one has thicker palm swells. And both of these have a beaver tail area that just adds a little bit of surface area back here to your beaver tail. Now the finish on the slide end frame is a Cerakote olive drab finish. And to me, with these black accents, it really looks nice. It's a nice contrast. But under the Cerakote is an Armonite finish, and it is stainless steel. And the barrel is also stainless steel. It has M&P 9 engraved in the slide. Back here we have the Performance Center seal that's just marked. I think that's a nice addition. And then of course we have Smith & Wesson. Now you have ambidextrous slide stop on either side. You have your mag release, which is on one side, but it is switchable. It is one of their full-size frames, and so this is going to be excellent for competitive shooting. And again, you have that 17-round mag capacity, and you can up it again to the 23-round. The Performance Center trigger is included in this. I really like this over the original hinged pivot trigger. It has your standard safety right here, and you can see the lever at the back lifting up. It does have a trigger stop here at the back. So we have a little bit of take up right here, and then it hits a wall, and then a nice break. There's no real stacking. It just takes a little bit of pressure to get that last little bit, but it's really smooth. And then reset right there. And then back on it, you see that the trigger ends up right at the trigger stop, and that's going to keep you from having any over travel. You can see with the original M&P 2.0, it has that hinge trigger. Now you have your little safety here, but it has just some resistance all the way through, right into here. It's like you're having to overcome something right there. And then a little bit of a mushy break. And that's one thing that the Performance Center trigger has really done well with. It is a crisp break. Okay, we're going to check the trigger pull weight with our Lyman trigger gauge. 3 pounds, 12.6 ounces. 3 pounds, 9.1 ounces. This is a really good trigger. Weight on the M&P Metal Spec Series Performance Center. 29.47 ounces. Weight on the compact M&P 2.0, 26.81 ounces. Guys, that's not really a lot of difference, especially since this is a smaller gun, no comp, polymer frame. That's pretty impressive. One of the things though I love about the Smith & Wesson Core series is they include it with the package. Here, a lot of different pistols are coming where you have to order the different mount. This has 7 different plates, each one's marked, and you can go to the Smith & Wesson website or your owner's manual and you can pick out which plate fits the optic you need. And it also comes with mounting screws. The frame has some relief cuts in it. It's very well done. I love that design. You have your finger area right here for your thumb, also on the other side, so it just gives you just a comfort to be able to grab, and it brings in the frame just a touch. Nice undercut under the trigger guard. And of course you can get a better look at the magazine release. Easy to grab but not easy to hit accidentally. One thing too you'll notice is there are a couple of divots in the frame, and that allows you to pull those magazines out really easily. Now here at the back, and we'll look at this when we break it down, but this is one of the tools you can use so you don't have to pull the trigger. This is a pretty cool way they've done this. Now being a performance center handgun, it does have an enhanced sear. It's just going to give you a better trigger pull, and that's one of the reasons why this trigger is so smooth. And that's one of a number of advantages of just it being a performance center M&P 2.0. It is a limited edition spec series. There are some other handguns in the spec series. One is the compact. It just has a threaded barrel, and it is in a gray finish. But with the green finish and the black accents, this is going to be limited. I want to thank Fiocchi for sponsoring the ammo, all made in the USA. #1 supplier of ammunition in the country. I wish I'd had my little loader, forgot it, but we can get by without it if we have to. The M&P's been around for a long time. Started out polymer frame, striker fire. That was the rage. It's just great to see these metal frames coming back. Then with the spec series, you know, you have your comp, you have these suppressor height sights, you got optics ready, very aggressive texturing. You got the palm swell, so you can switch those out in the aluminum frame. Comp really makes a big difference with recoil. It just makes it really soft to shoot. Of course, you can take it off and put on a suppressor. It gives you a lot of options. We always decide to shoot it as is, typically, how you're going to get it in the box. Of course, you know, accessory rail. This gun is decked out. Of course, you have your standard flush fit magazines, great, and then you have your extended magazines to give you a lot of capacity, a lot of capability. But I'll tell you guys, it's very soft shooting. If you're an M&P fan, this is a no-brainer. But even if you're not, great competitive shooter, home defense gun, it's just got all the bells and whistles to make it whatever you want it to be, right out of the box. And even with the flush fit magazine, you got plenty of rounds. You add those additional rounds, and you know, you're outfitted. I mean, ready to go. Now I do want to mention a couple of things about our range time. When we first got down there, I shot a few rounds and we were having some stovepipes. In fact, we were having a lot of stovepipes right at first. I disassembled the gun. I realized that the gun was completely dry. There was a lot of these that were sent out without any lubrication. We added some lubrication and then it just ran like a top. But you will notice that the ejection pattern was weak. It was a little sporadic and it really wasn't throwing the rounds out. One of the things Smith & Wesson recommends is shooting 124 grain and above for optimum performance. And plus, that'll give you even more performance out of your compensator, which the more gas that's being pushed out, the more it's going to be effective. But it was still reliable with the 115 grain Fiocchi. When it came to accuracy, this thing was incredible. I'm the one that pulled that shot high. I was getting kind of nervous because the group was so small. But that was me. Now for disassembly, we drop our magazine, check the chamber, the gun is empty. We're going to bring back our slide stop. Just bring down your takedown lever. Now, you can actually release the slide here and pull the trigger and it will come off. But Smith & Wesson has a small little tool here in the grip. And here is a yellow-green lever. Just pull it down into the down position. And what that does, it disengages your striker. Next, just take your tool, put it back so you don't lose it. And then we can release our slide and it pulls right off. Just keeps you from having to pull the trigger. We have our recoil spring and guide rod. It is captive. The blue end goes toward the back of the barrel. Now, if you're going to take your barrel off, you've got to first take off this compensator. You just remove these two small set screws. Now here's your HEPA 28 thread barrel. You see the Vibrotite that's in there. Next, just take and lift your barrel up from the back and you can pull it right out. Now, this is your standard M&P interior. You will notice these elongated slide rails at the front. I really like that. It gives it more slide to frame fit. But overall, I mean, it's just that M&P. This lever will be pushed back into place when you enter a magazine. And then here's the interior of the slide. Same thing, but it does have that Armornite finish on the inside. For assembly, just go ahead and drop in your barrel, recoil spring and guide rod. Now we're going to return our comp. We can wait till the gun is fully assembled, but we're going to go ahead and put it on. You want to go all the way and bottom it out against the slide. And once it's touching, you want to just bring it back and line it up in line with the other areas. You can check it and just make sure that it is lined up. And then make sure that you do tighten up your set screws. One thing they recommend is just taking it finger tight. It needs to be 10 inch-pounds. Next, bring the slide back over the frame, put it in the slide lock, hit your takedown lever, drop it, put your magazine in to disengage the striker disassembly lever, and you're good to go. Comes in a really nice hard case, and you can lock this. Of course, it comes with a pistol, and I love the old Smith & Wesson wax paper. We have the two 23 round magazines. There are slots, one 17 rounder. You could actually put an additional. Here I have the Core Series plates. It also comes again with 3 back straps. It does come with an M&P Spec Series challenge coin, and that is included with the handgun. Also, we have a thread protector, and we have a Smith & Wesson karambit style little small knife, and this is 2.25 inches in length. It's stainless and it has aluminum scales. That's actually a pretty nice knife. Now the retail price on the Spec Series full-size metal is $999.99. Of course, going to your local gun shop, you can typically get it for less. So guys, the original M&P 2.0, it's a great pistol. But when you upgrade it to the spec model with the metal frame, the compensator, and the threaded barrel so you can put on suppressors, of course you have optics ready, the slide serrations, the great trigger. I mean, this is a great upgrade, whether you're competing, whether you're using it for home defense, or you just like to take it out to the range. This makes an excellent companion. And again, we really do appreciate Smith & Wesson for sending the M&P 2.0 metal spec model for this review. That's a mouthful. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. Whatever your mission is. Whatever your mission is. Whatever life throws at you. Boo, boo, boo. Yeah, one round of this and this cat's gonna be gone. He hadn't quite learned the ropes yet. Let's check it out. Let's check it out. But they didn't really hold it. Okay. A lot of people still love the old Gen 3s especially. Okay. So we're gonna take a good look at the spec model and did move down to Maryville, Texas, no, not Maryville, Texas, 2.0 Metal Spec Series Performance Center. Oh Lord, that's too much. Metal, which is the metal. Forgot the medal. Man, I got to give this thing a medal. But it's long on performance. And that kind of sounds cheesy. It sounds real cheesy.